All right, Shalom, Shalom. It's the brother Kadash.
It's the brother Kunah.
I want to start off by giving our praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash.
double honors to the apostles and the elders. This is going to be a great camp today because we're starting something new. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the book of Revelation. So every camp, every week we come down here, we're going to do a different book. We're going to do Revelations 1 today. Then the next week we do like Revelations 2. Then the next week after that, Revelations 3. So we not ducking or hiding. We breaking down every book and we're going to get it from the beginning. We're going to break down the whole chapter. So after this camp, hopefully you'll be edified and you will know exactly the breakdown of what Revelation 1 means. Revelation 1 is very special because it actually reveals, that's what the book means. It reveals the Lord, and it reveals the Lord who he was. And a lot of people don't even know it reveals the Lord color. Because a lot of people say, well, what does color have to do with it? Well, color is in the Bible. And it speaks about it in Revelation 1. We're going to break it down. So it kind of gives you those hints and those clues of who the Israelites are, because the Lord is an Israelite too. He came from the tribe of Judah, which is the so-called Negroes.
Yeah.
We come from the tribe of Judah. King David, King Solomon, all the kings and stuff like that came from the tribe of Judah. And the Lord came from the tribe of Judah. So we just going to start on Revelations 1. Like I said, this is going to be a special camp, you know, learning from the apostles, learning different breakdowns of the prophecies, learning how to hold order at a camp and stuff like that is very important. And the Lord putting the spirit on you to go in different breakdowns. So we're going to start in Revelation 1. Like I said, this is going to be like a very special camp to us because it's like a new little series that we're doing. We're breaking down each chapter. You know? So that's very, very special. So let's get to it. Let's roll. Rock and roll. Revelations 1 straight from the top.
This is Revelations 1, verse 1. The revelation of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which God gave unto him, to shew unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
Yep.
And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John.
Right, so John, we call him John the Revelator. So he was exiled to the island of Patmos, right? And that's what it is. He said to reveal. So this John, so John is getting the visions of these different things that's going to happen on the earth, future events that some of them have been fulfilled, and some of them are still waiting to be fulfilled, which is our prophecies, right? Especially the end of the Lord coming back and how it's all going to go down. So the angel is kind of breaking these things down. They're breaking these things down to John to give him an understanding of, you know, the parable. He'll hear a parable or he'll get a vision, and then the angel will tell him, like, this is what the vision means. This is what you're seeing.
Right. Verse 2. Who bear record of the word of God and his testimony of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein.
Right.
For the time is at hand.
Right. So blessed is he that readeth. So you gotta read if you want to be blessed. You know, if you want to be, it said, blessed is he that readeth, right?
Right.
And keepeth those things that is written. So keeping those things, the things that is written is the law, statutes, commandments. So we supposed to walk in the way of the Lord. How did the Lord walk? The Lord followed the law, statutes, commandments. That's when they say he was the only one that was perfect. That means that he was the one that was able to keep the law, statutes, and commandments perfect. All the law, statutes, and commandments. So we can't keep them perfect, but that's what his sacrifice was for. Grace for our sins. Now, just like if you got a grace period on paying a mortgage bill, that don't mean that you could just run away with the payment and never pay it. You have a certain period of time and you have to make that payment. You have a grace period. So it's the same thing. That grace that the Lord gave us is grace from our sins, so we won't be judged right away from them, but we still have to repent and get right and follow the Lord. You can't just say, oh, I got grace, I can do whatever I want to do. You're going to get judged by the Lord, you know? And we all guilty, we all can be judged by the Lord. The difference is the Lord's going to have mercy on who he will have mercy on. But those that's trying, you know, that's what the grace is for.
Verse 4. John to the seven churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you, and peace from him which is, and which was, and which is to come, and from the seven spirits which are before his throne.
All right, so them seven churches, I got them right here, and you know the pronunciation is kind of, so you got to deal with me on that. You know, in the book of Revelations, as a matter of fact, you pronounce them better. You see them right there?
Yeah. Okay, we go. Okay, Ephesus,
Yep.
Simra,
Yep.
Pergamum,
Yep.
Thyatira,
Yep.
Sardis,
Yep.
Philadelphia,
Yep.
and Laodicea.
Okay, so these 7 churches is no different than like the camps today. Pretty much we don't call ourselves churches no more. It's like the camps today. So the Lord was dealing with these 7 churches. These 7 churches all had different traits about them.
Right.
Different things they had to correct. Some of them was better in this area. Some of them was better in that area. But they had to correct different things. They had different traits. Now I got a precept. This is Becca 2 because that's how you break down the Bible. That's how you get the truth and the understanding of the Bible. Precept upon precept. So I might read a verse in the Bible and then I might go to this verse to give you more understanding.
Right.
You know, a lot of the prophets, they had the same vision over and over again, but sometimes, like Daniel may have a vision, but it may go more in details on something different.
Right.
John the Revelator may have that same vision, but his vision may focus on a different part of the same vision a little bit more. So you put them together to get the full story, to get the truth. Right? Now this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. It says, I will watch to see what he was saying to me and what I should answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon the tables that he may run that readeth it. So that's what we're doing. We're making it plain. So you say, well, I can pick up the Bible and read it myself, right? But how can you understand this thing unless a man teach you? So we coming out here making it plain upon the tables. We showing you today that, look, this is what this means. This is what this is referring to. Like the second death, the lake of fire, is going to come by the way of nuclear missiles. So when the elect get saved, they're going to go up, right? And when they're going up, they're going to look down. And when they look down, it's going to look like a lake of fire on land. That's the lake of fire. It's not talking about a hell underground. Right. It's talking about the destruction that's going to be on top of the earth, and the elect's going to be looking down on it, and they're going to see a lake of fire. That's all they're going to see from the nuclear missiles. So let's keep going in it. It says, for the vision is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, right? Because when John the Revelator, you know, and different prophets was having these visions, nobody could really understand them because that technology wasn't made yet.
Right.
So it was for an appointed time. Just like I was telling the brother that came up to see us earlier, that the missiles, why is there so many nuclear missiles on Earth? And it's not like nuclear missiles are going off every other day. So what are they for? They're for an appointed time to be used. The Lord put that technology on the Earth. All the major superpowers on Earth have nuclear missiles. So why? Why would the Lord give them nuclear missiles just never to use them? Just to posture and make threats with them.
Right.
Because they're actually going to be used, but they're for an appointed time. They're going to be used, and you know what happens when those nuclear missiles are used? Destruction. Shit gets destroyed. And they use them on cities. Look what America did to Japan.
Exactly.
They didn't drop that on a military base, but they were atomic bombs during that time. But now they have advanced to nuclear missiles. Shit, they advanced to hypersonic nuclear missiles now. They dropped them on the people. They dropped it on the city. So that's what happened when a nation go to war with another nation. They drop their bombs on the people, on the city. And that's prophecy. That's going to happen. That's what the Lord made it for. What's up, bro? I didn't even know that was you.
My voice.
That's what's up? Oh, damn, boy. I didn't know you had a son. All
All right, man. Have a safe trip back way over there.
Thank you. I so appreciate it.
All right, man.
The way these jokers drive, I stay on the sidewalk.
Yes, sir. That's smart.
Staying in shape, though, man, on that bike. I need to get me one and get out here.
Yeah, it's getting my strength up too. You know?
Exercise.
Yes, sir.
All right, let us get back to program, man.
All right.
Man, how many you got? I got 3. Get to it, man. Hey, but let's get back into it though, right? It says, for the vision is yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come and will not tarry. So the destruction gonna come. So pretty much we just down here teaching that we are the Hebrew Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We are the true Israelites, right? We the true Jews. You know, them people over there, they pretending to be us, but they not. They gonna be destroyed. So the prophecy says that the Lord gonna come back. He gonna destroy America, right? For what they did to the Negroes. They took us in slavery. So the same way they took us in slavery, right? The Lord gonna come back and he gonna give us power and we gonna take them in slavery. That's righteous judgment. That's fair. You know, get that Revelation 13 real quick. Jump to Revelation 13. We kind of going out, but we gonna get back into Revelation 1. You know, brothers come up, we gotta kind of break it down. Revelation 13, verse 7 or 9. Verse 9. Play that.
Revelation 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
So the Bible said, he that leadeth in captivity should go in captivity. So we know the so-called Negroes went into slavery. So who we went into slavery under? Well, whoever took us in slavery, what did it say?
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
So they gonna go in slavery. It's just that simple. Keep going.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
We know we was killed with the sword. So what's gonna happen to the people that killed us with the sword? They gonna be killed with the sword. Now we ain't got power right now to go against them sword versus sword, weapon, gun versus gun. That was the blessing that was given to them. We ain't got fighter jets, we ain't got nuclear weapons. So how we gonna defeat them? We gonna get the power from the Lord. You know, now the world says UFOs, right? And the world say, and every time the white man see the UFOs, he say, man, look, they super advanced. We can't do nothing, we can't keep up with them, right? That's our army, that's our war. Yep, shalom, shalom, brother. That's our army, that's our war, that's our power. So the Lord is going to give us that power. Then you're going to have the war in the heavens like it speaks about in Revelation chapter 12. You know, but we, like we said, it's for the elect though. Now let's go back to Revelation 1 right? Sometimes you got to, hold up, sometimes you got to break that down. Brothers come up and you want to kind of switch from whatever your lesson is just to get a message up.
Right.
You know, sometimes you got to do that. And I'm still learning how to slow it down a little bit. You know, that's a great learning trait is how to slow it down. You know, a lot of times I get straight to the point and I'll be teaching too fast. Sometimes you got to learn how to slow it down. You kind of learn that as you get more experience. You kind of learn that from the elders too. You know, but like we were saying, we kind of sped it up a little bit because brothers was around. We was trying to get that word out. But this is going to be a special camp, man.
Yeah.
Revelations, breaking down each of the revelations. I'm going to see if I can make like a folder and then put like the whole series of revelations there. And the Lord put the spirit on us to do this, you know? Us to come out here and break it down like this, because this is what the Lord wants us to break down, because we get into them end times. And we ain't so much teaching like what type of sandals the Lord had on, you know, how which was the most beautiful, all King Solomon 1,000 wives and concubines, which one was the most beautiful? We not teaching shit like that, man. This ain't the time for that, man. You know, we teaching the prophecies. That's the main thing, because what is a prophet? A prophet is somebody that prophesied, right? Correctly, right? And the prophecies that he prophesying about comes true. That's what makes a prophet. So that's what we're doing. We're set up as prophets. We're not set up as, what's that boy, Joel Osteen at that big church, I think down in Texas. And he had Kanye West come to his church and shit like that. He's teaching prosperity.
Yeah.
You could prosper. You could be a millionaire. You could get a jet. You could get a Ferrari. We not teaching that shit, man. We teach you the end, the destruction that's about to come to get you ready for it. Because you ain't going to be able to use none of that. Look at gas prices. So when gas prices go up to $10, $20, well, how you going to drive around that Ferrari? Or when there's gas shortages and there ain't no more gas. So those things are in vain. We teach you the truth of the Bible. What's about to happen, what's about to come, and the Lord bringing brothers up, man. For the last couple weeks, we know in the summertime things get more active, but like the brother was telling me, he said, like, man, every time we go to camp now, people coming up getting edified. That's how you know we doing the work. We really doing the work, man. And we gonna continue going. We breaking out each book of Revelation. That's 22 books. That's 22 weeks.
Yeah.
And we still going, you know? So let's get back in it.
Revelations 1, verse 5. And from Yahawashi Mashiach, who is faithful, who is the faithful witness and the first begotten of the dead and the prince of the kings of the earth.
Yep. Can I get in on that?
Yep.
When it said who is the first begotten of the dead, what does that mean? Right, he was the first one who defeated death.
Yep.
Right, that's what that means. The first begotten of the dead. He was the first for everything. He's, like he said, he's the beginning and the end. He's the alpha and the omega.
Yep. Hold up, I got a precept on that. What's that?
Revelations 1 and 5.
Yeah, this is 1 Corinthians, if I could get to it. If I could get to it. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Now, really the whole chapter is heavy.
You said 1 Corinthians what?
15, but really the whole chapter is heavy. But I want to get straight to the point. Verse 10. It says, "But by the grace of God I am what I am, and his grace which was bestowed upon me was not in vain, but I labor more abundantly than they all." It says, "Yet not I, but the grace of God which was with me." Hold on. Now if a Mashiach be preached that he rose from the dead, how say some among you that there is no resurrection from the dead? But if there be no resurrection from the dead, then is a Mashiach not risen? So just to kind of go in what the brother said, and then let me get a little bit more at the end. It says, verse 54. "So when this corruptible should have put on incorruption, this mortal should put on immortality," which being immortal means you have victory over death.
Right.
It says, "Then shall be brought to pass that saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law." So then in the kingdom, Jeremiah 31, we're going to get those law, statutes, and commandments written on our inward parts. Therefore, we're not going to sin no more. Therefore, we're not going to die no more. And we're going to get the victory over death. Now, Esau in his kingdom, he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to merge with technology and AI and robots, or robotic parts at least, and the chip, the MOTB. He's trying to merge with that so he could cornerly make eternal life for himself, immortal life for himself. He's trying to create the kingdom pretty much for himself. Because you got to think about it. If they take your consciousness and put it on a chip and put it in a robot, you can't die no more. Because if anything happened to that robot, they just repair it, or they just put it in a new robot.
Right.
That means you ain't got to eat no more. That means you ain't got to sleep no more. So they trying to create that. But it ain't going to happen though. They plans are going to be cut short.
Yeah, because what he's trying to do is escape his judgment. But he's not going to be able to, because his judgment that he got is coming for him. Just like we couldn't dodge it, they not going to be able to dodge theirs neither. You know, it's rightfully yours, and you got to own that. You're going to have to take that.
Yep, everybody do. And like brother said, Jeremiah 49. You can start at verse 12. It speaks about that he don't want to drink of that cup. See, these people, these Edomites that be out here, they think they going to live like this forever. What the scripture say about that?
His inward thought is that this will last forever.
Yep. So
Right.
they really walking around and they don't see America ending or being destroyed. They think they gonna live like this forever until their natural life run out.
Right.
And then the Edomites at the top, the elites, they even worse. They think they gonna create something where they gonna be able to live forever. That they gonna be immortal. They think they gonna get the promise that we got. Esau trying to get that birthright back. That's what this is all about, man. Esau versus Jacob, right? Now,
And that's why they don't want to hear this, because they don't want to hear that the Lord finna come back and destroy, you know, people. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they got this this mind frame that the Lord is all good and that He don't kill, right? Like he don't kill, He don't cause bad things to happen to people. He don't do none of that. I just did a video on it, and I broke down a couple precepts, you know, showing that the Lord controls both good and evil. You know what I mean? So whatever happens, it's of the Lord.
yeah, and you can see it in their teachings. That's why they say everybody can be saved. The Lord, they pretty much make it seem like the Lord just gonna come back and save the whole earth. That's how they make it seem,
Yeah.
right? And that's far from true. That's because they don't want to go, like brother said, they don't want to drink from that cup of judgment. They want to escape that cup of judgment. You know, that's what they really envision in their head. And that's why when the Lord come back and destroy their asses, they gonna fight. They gonna try to fight. They gonna say, no, we gotta fight, man. They gonna be scared, but the Lord gonna put a spirit on them to still fight. Let's keep going. And Esau, man, Esau's pussy. Because they only want to fight. They only really want to fight when they got the advantage. If you look at everything in the world that Esau does, he's only big and bad and tough when he has an advantage.
Right.
If it be a technology advantage, that's the only time he's tough and bad. So if you reveal, we in the book of Revelations, right? And you reveal Esau for what he is, and you pull back that curtain on him, you will see that he really not shit. And he really weak. but he has the advantage with his weapons because he was blessed with the sword. If you go race cars, Esau only really gonna want to race you if he knows cars faster than you, if he got more power. They always gotta have an advantage or something over you, right? And if they won't go to war, that's why they so scared to go to war in Russia right now, because they know they ain't really got the advantage over them.
Exactly.
But when they went to Afghanistan, they knew they had a superior advantage over Afghanistan. We finna invade you, y'all ain't nothing. We finna come take y'all over and invade y'all. That's why they ain't touched North Korea yet, because North Korea got a nuclear missile. Yeah, you could destroy North Korea off the map. They could do that easily, but they gonna get hit back. So now they scared. To me, that's some scary stuff.
It is. Yep. Okay. Verse 5. And the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and hath made us kings and priests unto the Most High and his Father.
Right, so in the kingdom, we're going to be kings and priests because we're going to be priests because we're going to be teaching. But you got to remember in Jeremiah 31, it says, get that in Jeremiah 31, start at verse 31. Because we ain't going to really cut no corners because we're breaking it down.
Right.
This is a special camp.
You said Jeremiah what?
31, start at verse 31. Right? So it's going to break down that we ain't going to have no need to teach each other because the Lord going to put the law, statutes, commandments in our inward parts. So I just read in 1 Corinthians 15 that we're going to get those immortal bodies, right? We're going to get those upgrade, incorruptible, immortal bodies. So we're going to be like superhumans, right? And we're not going to sin no more, so we ain't going to have to teach each other no more. So why are we going to be priests in the kingdom if we ain't teaching each other no more?
Right.
Because we're going to be teaching the other nations, which shows you a difference, that they're not going to inherit the kingdom. We're going to inherit the kingdom. We're going to be in rulership over them. So the same way that we have to keep Esau laws, but how can we keep Esau laws? Because he taught us his laws. So that's the same thing in the kingdom. We're going to teach them our laws, and they're going to be forced to keep them. Get that?
Jeremiah 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord.
It's the new covenant. Keep going.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord.
No, the house of everybody on earth.
No, but this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord.
House mean the people of Israel.
Right. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts.
Right.
And will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Yep.
And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, for the least of them unto the greatest of them,
Right.
saith the Lord.
Yeah, in that verse.
For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
So it said we ain't gonna have to teach from the least to the greatest of us. We ain't gonna have to teach no more because we all gonna know the Lord. What does it mean to know the Lord? To follow his law, statutes, and commandments, right? I think it speaks about that in 1 John chapter 2, right? 1 John chapter 2. So we all gonna follow, we gonna be following the Lord perfect, but the other nations are not. That's why we're gonna be priests and there's gonna be punishment for them. Now let's prove that. Zechariah 14, right? Verse 16. And it should come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem should even go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. And it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth into Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them should be no rain. So we know that that's not a curse that's going to be on the Israelites, because we're going to get the curses took off of us. And we're not going to sin no more, therefore we're not going to be punished no more. So who's that talking about? That's talking, like I said, the other nations. So they're going to be forced to follow our laws the same way we're forced to follow their laws. Now, just because they're following our laws don't mean that they're in rulership or they have inherit the everlasting paradise or the kingdom. The same way we follow their laws when we don't rule America.
Yeah, the same way we follow their laws because we're subject to it.
Yep.
We have to.
Yep.
So what the brother trying to say is when we in the kingdom and they're in the kingdom with us, it's not because they are of the people. It's because they're subject to the laws that is in place.
Yep. And us, and the people. They're
And
going
the
to be
people.
subject to us, the Lord, and our laws.
Exactly.
And like I said, no rain. No rain is a horrible punishment because for no rain, you get a lot of stuff. You get famines, you get heat waves, you get droughts. That's horrible. So, keep going.
Verse 6, and hath made us kings and priests unto the Most High and his Father. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him.
All right, go to Matthew 24. Okay, so let's break that down. Say he cometh with clouds, right? So some people may say, look, he coming with vapor and mist. Those are idiots. Right? Those are idiots, right? Because the vapor and mist is already here. You can look up and see clouds. So when it says he coming with clouds, it's talking about the chariots. But the world today calls these UFOs. So we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down for you. Now this is Acts chapter 1, right? Starting at verse 9. It says, when he had spoken these things, while they behold, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. So when the Lord went up, right, after he spoke, right, to the disciples, right, after he spoke to them and he went up, it said a cloud received him. So what cloud is going to receive you, right, to the point where they can't see you no more? That's a UFO. But the UFOs cloak themselves in the clouds. Right. And we're going to prove that too. I'm going to get it right quick in Revelation chapter 10. But the cloud received them. Now, if I go up in the cloud, you might still see me in the cloud. If I'm just in the cloud and the cloud covering me, you might say, look, KD's still right there in the cloud. Right. You know, that's not what happened with the Lord, man. He went up into the chariot. It was a UFO, what they called, cloaked in the cloud, and he went up into it and it received him. They couldn't see him no more. Right? Now let me get that Revelations 10. We breaking this down, man.
And they say it was a cloud because that was the last thing they seen.
Yep. Because they cloak themselves in the clouds.
Right.
So in the Bible, it may speak of it. It's not going to say UFO. It may call it a chariot, a vehicle. It may call it a cloud, right? Things like that. Chariots of Israel, chariots of fire, a flying roe, Ezekiel's will, you know? It's not going, because you got to think about it. The prophets are trying to explain what they're seeing. So the prophets didn't have the terminology UFO, so they're not looking up saying that's a UFO. A UFO received them. You know, they're saying look, a chariot, it was a vehicle. Or they saying look, a cloud received them. You know, so you got to, and that's why we here today, and we read in Habakkuk 2, make it plain upon the tables for our appointed time. So we making that cloud, we making it plain upon the tables for you to understand that that's what the world calls UFO. Because you might read and say, what is a cloud? He went into a cloud? So the Lord's going to come back on floating clouds? All right, this is Revelation chapter 10, verse 1. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven clothed in a cloud. It said, I seen another mighty angel come down from heaven clothed in a cloud. So just like I'm clothed in a garment, you can't see what's under the garment. I'm cloaked in the garment. I'm clothed in it. So if he was clothed in a cloud, what does that mean? That means he was cloaked in the cloud. You couldn't see it. He's cloaked in it. Right? It says, and the rainbow was upon his head, and his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. It's talking about a spaceship, right? That's what feet, pillars of fire. Rainbow was upon his head, and his face as it was no sun. Like, it's talking about a spaceship, right? So now that's telling you that when it says cloud, it's not talking about literal. It's a parable. It's like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a metaphor. It's like if I say, if I got jewelry on and I say I'm wetter than the bottom of a ship. Am I talking about I'm wet, like literally? I got water on me? No.
It's parabolic. It's parabolic.
Yeah, I'm saying I got a lot of jewelry. I got a lot of ice on me. Do I got literal ice on me? No, I'm talking about jewelry. So really, that's how you know we the people, because we speak like that.
Right.
That's from us. It take a Jake to understand that, to break it down and understand that. Like, I'm coming through on the clouds. That means you coming through in a chariot. If I say I'm coming through in a horse, that means I'm coming through in a Ferrari or a Mustang or something like that.
Right.
What you pulling up in? I'm gonna pull up in a horse. Now Esau, so lame and shit, man. The Esau take that and say, he's coming with a horse. And then Esau be looking out the blinds looking for a horse, right, coming down the street. And then you'll pull up in a Mustang. And then you'll be like, yeah, I told you I was coming in a horse. Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's breaking it down, man. We making it plain upon the tables for you. Right? So Acts 1, verse 9 again. And when he had spoken these things while they behold him, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And going back to Revelation chapter 1, the same way he went up in that cloud, we call it the fathership. he's going to come back down with the clouds. But he coming with more because he coming with the angels. We about to break that down. Speaking of the angels, verse 10. And while they looked steadfastly towards heaven, as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. Right? So they looking up towards the heaven. There ain't no planes, there ain't no helicopters during these times. So what would that be called? Today you would call it a UFO. Right? If you see something in the sky and it receives somebody, you will say, look, he got abducted by a UFO.
Right.
Right? That's the terminology we would use today. It says, which also said, now you got two random men standing in white apparel. Who's that? The angels. So every time it speaks about the cloud, a chariot, just like in Zechariah chapter 5, there's always an angel that appears. Why? Because the angels control these chariots and they come down from them. Right? Now it says, which also said, ye man of Gilead, why stand ye glazing up into the heaven? This same Yahushua which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. So then that's when you get Revelations 1. So we all the way in the book of Acts. Now we in the book of Revelations, a whole different prophet, Paul, and then you got John saying the same thing. John saying, look, what Paul was talking about in Acts 1, I seen the vision of it. We a body, man. You see? So John said, look, I seen the Lord coming back with clouds. And Paul said, look, the Lord gonna come back in a cloud the same way he went up in a cloud. And then you put it together and get the understanding. You got that in Matthew 24. Speaking of the angels, right? So he went up in a cloud, but he said he gonna come back with clouds in Revelation 1. Get that.
Clouds. Matthew 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Yep, so this is talking about the end times when the Lord coming back. They're going to see him coming back with power and great glory. Keep it.
With power and great glory. Verse 31. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, and from the four winds from one end of the heaven to the other. Now learn a parable of the fig tree.
Right there. That's it. And, go back to Revelation. Yep. So he said he's going to send his angels. So that's why in Revelation 1 it said he's coming back with the clouds. So now you got a better understanding of what those clouds are. It's his angels in the chariots, in the vehicles. And they're going to go and gather. So if they're going to gather the elect, right? Then let's make this plain upon the table. Is it just the angels, or are they in vehicles? Now, are the angels just going to come and pick you up and just get to picking up people and picking up elects and taking them up? No, it's talking about the angels which are in the vehicle. That read Ezekiel chapter 1. They're inside the UFO, and they're going to go and they're going to abduct the elect. That's where Esau gets it from. He gets it from the Bible. They're going to go and they're going to beam up the elect. Matter of fact, I got a precept on it. 1 Thessalonians 4, verse 17. Then we which are alive and remain should be caught up together with them in the clouds. What does it mean? We're going to be brung up together in the clouds.
Right.
So are we just going to go into vapor and mist? No, we're going into the UFOs that's in the clouds. So it proves it even more. And we're going to be caught up. So the angels are going to come, like it said in Matthew 24, and they're going to beam us up, right? It says, together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. So that's why when I was breaking it down to the brother of the second death, we're going to be beamed up with the Lord, and we're going to be looking down on the destruction. It's going to look like a lake of fire. It speaks about that in Revelation chapter 15.
Revelations 1, verse 8. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, and which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. Verse 9. I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation, and in the kingdom and patience of Yahushua and Mashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of the Most High, and for the testimony of Yahushua and Mashiach.
Now get that in Colossians 1. Colossians 1. Let me see what verse I can find. So the Lord said, look, He is the beginning and the ending, right? Why? Because Yahweh created Yahweh Shai. A lot of people don't know this, right? Who the world calls Jesus ignorantly, right? Idiots, right? And Yahweh Shai created everything else that you see. Verse 12. Is that Colossians 1, verse 12.
Giving thanks unto the Father which hath made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light. Keep going. Okay, verse 13. Who hath delivered us from the power of darkness and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son.
We're going to be translated. Remember, Enoch was translated. Remember, Elijah went up in a whirlwind. We're going to be translated into those. So you won't say adopted. You will actually say we're going to be translated into those chariots.
Right. Verse 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins. Who is the image of the invisible power, the firstborn of every creature.
So he's the firstborn of every creature.
For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible.
So Yahweh Shai created everything on earth. So he's going to have the kingdom on earth, right? It's his kingdom, and it's the Father's kingdom, and it's our kingdom, because we joint heirs to the kingdom.
Whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him.
Right, so he went and sat on the right hand of the Lord. There is no Trinity. He's not the same entity as the Father that sits on the throne. In Revelations, it speaks about Yahweh Shai sitting on the right hand of that throne. And the right hand is the throne. He sits on the throne.
Verse 17, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist.
He's before all things. He's the beginning, he's the end, he's the Alpha, the Omega. Keep going.
And he is the head of the body and the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have in preeminence.
He's going to have preeminence in all things. That's his kingdom. Because that was the prophecy of him going up in the cloud, that he went and sat on the right hand of the Father, and he got power over everything. Now we waiting for him to come back and take his kingdom and take his power and destroy America and take them out of power, and him take the earth back. And they gonna fight against the Lord when he come back. They not gonna want to give up their power when the Lord comes back, but he's gonna come back, and that's why it says he sit upon mountains. He's gonna have all those crowns on his head, symbolizing that he's gonna take kingdom. He's gonna take down all these kingdoms, and it's gonna be his kingdom. He's gonna have preeminence over everything. Go back to Revelation. So by him became all things. The Lord, Yahweh, created his son. And his son created everything. That's why he's the first begotten. You know?
Revelation 1, verse 10. I was in the spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet.
Okay, so now we finna reveal the Lord. And it talks about his image and his color.
Right. Verse 11. Saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, and what thou seest, write it in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto you. I just said this word.
Euphrates?
No, not Euphrates.
Ephesus.
Yeah.
And it's actually Revelation. And see, that's the great thing about Revelations, right? It's Revelations 1 is kind of going to break it down himself, the truth.
Right.
So he's going to go say all the same thing we said earlier with the churches.
Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me, and being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks. And in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with a garment down to the foot.
Right, so we're going to wait till the end to break down that part, because it's going to break it down at the end. Like we said, Revelation 1 kind of breaks it down for you anyways. It's going to break that part down at the end. So now we're talking about the Lord. He had a garment down to the foot, so he not just coming in a spirit, but he came as like a man, you know what I mean? And then we have our spiritual bodies, and in the elect, actually, we gonna have those incorruptible bodies and mortal bodies. So you got to think of what type of body that's going to be. It's going to be like a combination of both.
And girt about the paps with the golden girdle.
Right.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow.
Right, so break that down. Now this is Old English. So the hairs on his head were white like wool. It's not talking about his face. Because
Right.
Edomites like to run with that and say, look, the Lord was white. First of all, y'all not white. White is something that y'all put on y'all. So if y'all pale, you take a white piece of paper and hold up to their skin, it's not the same color. And they're not white. That's something that they put on themselves. So then they'll try to run and say, look, it says the Lord was white. Clowns, idiots. Y'all are not fucking white, man. Y'all put that name on y'allself because what it means, pure, holy. And then y'all put black on us because what it means, darkness, evil. So y'all try to put that name on y'allselves.
Right.
They like to run with that. And if you ever see somebody go to Revelations and use that to say the Lord was white, you know he's an idiot, he's not a scholar, and you shouldn't listen to anything he says. That's very simple. The hairs on his head were white, like wool.
Yeah.
Who has woolly hair? What type of hair is this? This is woolly hair, right? So now when a man get older, or if a man goes through a lot of stress, like the Lord was going through a lot of stress, man, it speaks about his eyes being red. It says up to his death, he had a very, roughly paraphrasing, but he had a very heavy spirit on him, man. A very heavy spirit on him. He flipping tables and temples. He rebuking. He had to teach the disciples. He was rebuking them. He had the wicked Pharisees. Imagine, right? If there's elders out there, right, and they're just on your back, just waiting for you to slip up to accuse you of something. Every corner you turn, somebody's watching you. Say, aha, you did this wrong. You did that wrong. Oh, but you went off here. You went off there. Every little step you take, somebody over your back. You sinning. You going off. That'll stress you out.
Yeah.
So you got to think about it. The Lord was doing that. And then with the burden of knowing that he had to fulfill prophecies of being killed, being crucified. He knew he had to fulfill that prophecy. That's a heavy burden. So imagine the stress that'd be on you if you knew, right, in a couple of weeks or whatever, you was going on death row. You out here living, but you know, man, I'm living my life, but in a couple of weeks I gotta turn myself in, I'm going on death row, they about to kill me. And they not even going to eject you or electrocute you. They talking about putting you up on a cross, beating you half to death, and putting you on a cross and letting you bleed out and die out. And you know you finna die like that in front of people. You know you finna die like that. Now imagine, it don't matter what you doing, bro. You could be drinking, you could be having a time of your life. That's gonna kill everything, because that heavy spirit just gonna be on you. Just knowing, man, in a couple weeks I'm finna die. They finna kill me. You see? Man, let's keep going.
Verse 12. Wait. Okay, verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as flame of fire.
Yep, his eyes a flame of fire.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace.
Right, so his eyes being a flame of fire, his parable is his eyes were red. Right? Because he did drink a lot of wine. Right? Because you got those heavy spirits on you, so you're going to drink a lot to try to get through it. The scriptures talk about that. A man, I think that's in the Apocrypha, you know, pretty much give a man liquor, give a man drink that's like having heavy spirits on him, that's mourning or something like that. You give him drink to get through that. I got a precept on it. This is Genesis 49, verse 12. It says, his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. So it's just showing you that it speaks about it in the Bible that your eyes could be red with wine if you drink a lot of wine. And then that fiery spirit, you know, it all comes together. That anger, that burden that was upon him.
Yeah, stress, sleepless, tired.
Yeah.
Because the Lord had the hardest job on earth, like known to man. Like when you think about it, so he had the hardest job. It don't even ever even, like in the Bible, it don't ever even speaks about him resting.
Yeah. Because what did it say in Hebrews 4:11? Let us labor to enter into our rest.
Exactly.
So we gotta labor, we gotta put this work, and we feel like we be tired. I put up a video saying, look, man, for the last couple of weeks I've been feeling exhausted.
Right.
But that's because you know you're doing the work, man. But we gotta keep going. Like you said, we got apostles and elders that's been in this thing doing work, being diligent, on fire for 30 years.
And we not even 30 yet.
Yeah. So imagine how tired they is. They ready to go in there and rest. But they ain't letting up though. They making their election short. And that's what we gotta do. So we gotta have the same spirit that the Lord had on him. We gotta have that on us. We gotta go hard. Like Paul said, you know, put up a good fight.
And his voice has the sound of many waters. And he had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shineth in his strength.
Yep. Get that in Psalms 149. The 2-edged sword. Right? Because that 2-edged sword we gonna get too, right? But I kind of want to break it down where it said, look, his feet was like brass burnt. You can't skip over that part, right?
Right.
Now that gives the Lord color. As a matter of fact, let me get that in. What's that? Daniel 10 and 5.
What's the verse in this one?
We're gonna start at the top. Let me get that precept right here. In the book of Daniel. I'm picking up many precepts. But the Lord was a so-called dark-skinned man. A so-called Negro, you would call him today. Right? He was a dark-skinned man. So if you take something, you put it in the furnace, right? And brass is like the color, because brass is not gold. Gold is gold. Right? So like if you stand on the podium, you got gold, silver, brass. You can tell what's gold. You look, that's gold, that's brass. Brass is like a browner color. And if you take that in the furnace and it comes out, it's gonna come out even dark brown. Some would call it black today, but it's gonna come out dark brown. So when he had the garment on, you know, it's being revealed what John seen. And he seen his feet. And he said, look, his feet, he didn't touch his feet. They say, look, his feet are strong and hard like brass. No, he was giving you the appearance that he was seeing of the Lord. And it said, look, he said basically, making it plain upon the tables, it looked brown. It looked dark brown. His feet was dark brown. So what was the Lord? He was what you would call a so-called black man today. Right? Now this is Daniel 10. If I can get to it. Verse 5. It says, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins was girded with fine gold of Ophaz. His body also was like beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire. We already told you about the wine. And his arms and his feet like in color, right? In color, this ain't talking about the feeling, because Edomites try to play that.
Right.
It's talking about his legs are strong. No. Like in color to polished brass. So you got a polished brass today that looks kind of more like a golden color, and then you got an ancient version of polished brass, which is like a brownish color, right? And then if you put me in the sky and I got light beaming on me and I'm coming in glory, I'm gonna look way lighter than what I am when you see me in person, because that light beaming on you. Right. So you almost gonna look like you shining, like you gonna look like polished gold, right? So he was so-called black man. It says, in the voice of words like the voice of a multitude. Then it say like a voice, like a trumpet. Yep. So it's giving you
Sounds of many waters.
So what John seen, Daniel seen. Right? Keep going.
Oh wait, you want me to hit this Psalms 49?
Yep. It's a 2-edged sword.
Yep.
It said like a 2-edged sword came out of his mouth. We gonna get that too. Keep going.
Psalms 149. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise and let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with a timbrel and harp.
Yep.
For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek, he will beautify the meek with salvation.
Right, his people, which are the Israelites. That's who the saints are.
Right.
Yep.
Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, and a 2-edged sword in their hand.
Yep, so we gonna get a 2-edged sword in our hand to do what with it?
To execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bend their kings and with chains, and their nobles with fetters of iron.
Yep. So, and this is Psalms 50 just to prove who the saints are. Verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice, which were only the Israelites. It says, and the heavens shall declare his righteousness, for God is judged himself. Right? Judge himself. Hear, O my people, and I will speak, O Israel, and I will testify against thee, I am God, even thy God. That's who his people are. That's who his saints are, the Israelites. You can't be a saint if you're not an Israelite. You know, so we gonna get that two-edged sword, and we're gonna bind their kings with feathers. So is there gonna be slavery in the kingdom? Yes. He's gonna give us that power. It talks about that in Revelation chapter 2. Keep going.
Revelation.
Yeah.
Okay, verse 17. And when I saw him, I fell at his feet as dead. And he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, Fear not, I am the first and the last. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death.
Yep.
Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter.
Right. Quick precept. Right. 1 Thessalonians 1, verse 6. Seeing this is a righteous thing with God to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Right? And to you who are troubled, rest with us when the Lord Yahushua should be revealed from heaven with his mighty angels. So that kind of go back to Revelation when it says he's going to come with the clouds. It says it's going to be revealed and with the book of Revelation. So he's going to be revealed, but in Revelation it says he's coming with the, behold, he's coming with the clouds. Now 2 Thessalonians chapter 1 is saying, look, he's going to be revealed with his mighty angels. And why do the angels need to be mighty? Because they're coming to fight. They're coming to go to war. They're coming to take the kingdom.
And in Revelation, when it spoke of, no, in Psalms, when it spoke of, you know, his people gaining a two-edged sword, just as he got, because we all going to be joined until his army. So we're going to become, you know, angels of the army as well.
Yep, we're going to come back down and we're going to go to war and we're going to gather up the nations. Because how are we going to lead people into slavery with no power? So we're going to have some type of power to go get these people and take them into slavery. These different, they said they're kings and rulers and governors and presidents and elites and rich banker families is going to run in bunkers and try to hide. So we're going to have some type of power to crack those bunkers open and take them in slavery. We're going to have some type of power.
Verse 20, the mystery of the 7 stars which thou sawest in my right hand, and the 7 golden candlesticks, the 7 stars.
It's going to break it down like we said, it's going to break it down at the end.
The 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches.
So
and
the stars, the angels, right? Keep going.
And the 7 candlesticks which thou sawest are the 7 churches.
Yep. The candlesticks represent the churches. Finish it up.
Say, days be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. He that hath an ear, let him hear that what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death.
Yep, and it speaks about that in Revelations 2, but we're going to say that because we're going to do camp on Revelations 2 next week. But it speaks about that in Revelations 2, verse 10, pretty much. Fear none of these things, be thou faithful unto death, and he would give thee a crown of life. And that's what we're out here doing, and trying to edify brothers for the spiritual brothers to do the same thing, to be faithful all the way to the end, and he's going to give you a crown of life. You know, you're going to get your crown, you know, which is that salvation, which is mean what? If we get a crown, that means we're going to be kings. Exactly. The Lord said in Revelation, they're going to make us kings and priests because we're going to be joint heirs to this to that kingdom, the glorious kingdom that's coming. So with that, you know, we're going to end it there. Hopefully you edify. Hopefully we ain't leave no tables unturned. Hopefully we made it plain upon the tables, the breakdown of Revelation chapter 1. You can watch this video. We broke it all the way down for you. And, you know, we like this. You know, we're going to continue doing this. Like we said, we're going to come back with Revelations 2. You know, hopefully we did our job correctly, you know, to the spirit that the Lord put on us. So with that, we're going to say salvation to the Mulat, Shalom. We're going to give our praise to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakadas.
Kwam Yasharala.
Shalom.